with the rate of change that's happening, the education system just hasn't prepared us for this level of change. And I think the education system, firstly, has prepared us simply to get a job. And, it's not relevant anymore. So I think a couple of key things. First, there are some real experts who've been saying this for a long time. They've seen the changes that were going to come, and we call them futurists. And, I would like to mention three really amazing futurists out there that I personally follow. So the first is a gentleman by the name of Peter Diamandis. That's Diamandis, Peter Diamandis. And he's written 3 books. And the first book is a book called Abundance. And the second book in the series is called Bald. And the third book is called Exponential Organizations. And really what happens is that, he's been one of the leading futurists in the world. And he's been saying that, look, there is massive disruption happening. As the computing power has been increasing, so many things are being disrupted, and there's this digital disruption that is happening. And we have to really prepare for this. And there's a particular concept that he talks about called singularity, when all of these things are going to converge together because of the pace of change brought about by the technology upgrades that are happening. So if you begin to read his books, you begin to follow him online, you'll begin to understand what are some of the key trends that are happening. And what can happen is that you can rise with the trends. There are disruptions which are, breaking apart traditional ways of doing things, living life, doing business. And there are new trends happening, so you'll be able to understand what is happening out there, and you can rise with those particular trends. So first, you should know about those trends before you can rise. Then there's a second person called Ray Kurzweil, and he's a director with Google. And if you ask me, Kurzweil, yeah, Kurzweil is Kurzweil, and both of them have put together with Peter Diamandis and him have created an organization called Singularity University, which is helping both individuals, companies to understand what changes will come and how to take advantage of that. And Ray Kurzweil, I would say, is the #1 futurist in the world. 25 years ago, he said that there were 25 key things that were going to happen, and all of them have come true. A few, just 2 or 3 are remaining, and they're going to come true in this, particular year. So, he's got all 25 of them right. And, that's why I would say that he really understands it. And no wonder Google's made him a director in the company. So, he's a person that I would really recommend as well. And then lastly, there's a gentleman by the name of Roger James Hamilton. And he's a futurist as well, and he's also an entrepreneur, and he's really put together some amazing things. And I will say that a lot of key things, a lot of my key thinking, and particularly what to do right now during the COVID period is coming from him. And, he's been able to move extremely fast. And, last month, his organization was able to generate $2 million. And, they were a company that, was getting majority of revenue from resorts. So they have resorts in Bali, South Africa, and the Czech Republic. and by conducting events, physical events. So, if you think about it, those are the two industries that have been massively impacted by COVID. And yet, how is it that they were able to generate $2 million of revenue despite having all these other things not working and closed? They were able to really pivot digitally. And I've been following him. I've known him personally, since I think 2005. So it's 15 years that I've known him. And he's been saying all these particular things, and I've been following it, and I've applied what he's, taught. And we've seen some amazing results, not only in my business, but, since I work with you, Bhuvna, as well, we've seen amazing results of that. And I think it's the speed at which you can change. So, be clear about who are some of the thought leaders out there. What are some of the trends that they're talking about? Identify what are key passions that you have, skill sets that you have, and also begin to follow industry thought leaders, because each industry has its own thought leaders. And you'll see that they'll have been talking about a number of these things for a while. So, one of the key things that you're going to have to do is invest in yourself. We're going to have this attitude of continuous learning. I think the best investment that we can make is to invest in ourselves. And if you are having this rate of rapid change, then it has to be super important that you are constantly updating yourself. So you can't say to yourself that, oh, I'm going to learn once a year or once a quarter or once a month. You are actually going to have to devote time on a daily basis to learn, because that's how quick the change is happening. And if you look at it, there are four key trends that are happening right now, in the digital disruption. So, 3D printing.
3D printing.
Yeah, 3D printing is just completely changing everything. So right from, how even houses can be now 3D printed, cars are being 3D printed, face masks will be 3D printed. There's a company in Ahmedabad that is able to print, actually your face on a, face mask using 3D printing. So, that's one thing. Gaming is a huge thing. So, people are spending a lot more time gaming. They're going into virtual worlds. So there's Second Life and, things like that. People are becoming millionaires through these virtual worlds. There is AI, so artificial intelligence. There is data analytics related to that. There is augmented reality. So people are now able to try clothes, imagine sofas and, furniture in their home. Imagine that they're sitting on them, without actually having to, visit a showroom or anything like that. So, these are some of the things that are out there disrupting. And I think you've got to look at what's happening in terms of your industry. How do these things apply to you? I think you'll be able to really get some amazing insights and, begin to upskill yourself in that. One of the simple ways in which I upskill myself is to identify podcasts that these thought leaders have, because every thought leader out there has a podcast. If they really are a thought leader, they will be having a podcast. And while I'm exercising every day, I do a 35-minute fasted walk in the morning. I will listen
inside your house, I hope.
Inside the house, of course, inside the house. I'm lucky, thanks to you, and your financial planning. I have a big house, so I'm able to walk inside, and I do a 35-minute walk within my, just premises. And, it's, I'll have particular podcasts or, online courses that I will be doing on a daily basis. And if there's a day that I haven't learned, it's a day that I feel I wasted.
It's very interesting the way you're saying it. It's not even hit many people. The whole COVID thing and the lockdown and a possible change in how business and work will change is still not hit a lot of people. And we're talking of companies that have reinvented themselves, and from a resort business to a $2 million online business sale. I mean, that's been one hell of a change in such short spans, right? When you're talking about the speed of change, and you've mentioned that upskilling yourself is going to be the key. I mean, guys, if you don't have a pen and paper with you, I think you should quickly grab one. There's just so much wisdom coming your way, and you don't want to miss anything.